Hi, I'm Albert, and welcome to our group's presentation about Sparta. Sparta is a city-state in Greece. However, it had unique cultures and features because it was isolated from other city-states. Our group will be discussing about the location and background of Sparta, the three virtues, government style, military training of Sparta, and the social structure.
Hi, I'm Drew Dalton. I'll be explaining the first two slides. So our project is about Sparta, and the first is about location and background. So Sparta is located in Peloponnesus, which is a southern part of Greece, and you can see by the map on the right that the orange area is showing where ancient Greece is, and then the arrow is pointing to Sparta and Peloponnesus. They were also isolated from a lot of Greece from the Gulf of Corinth. And then their background. They were formed about somewhere around 1000 to 900 BCE, and one big thing that kind of changed them was the revolt of the Messenians. They almost lost in this revolt, and this made them realize that they needed to have a very strong army, and that caused them to become a military state. And then these conquered people also became helots, which are basically slaves or peasants. And now the second slide is about Lycurgus. He was a lawgiver in Sparta, and he created the three virtues. And these virtues mainly related to becoming a military state. So the first one is equality, and it made people more likely to be loyal to Sparta, not want to revolt or leave. The second would be military fitness, and since they're a military state, they focused a lot on training and becoming strong warriors. I think they started training at the age of 7. And the third is austerity. This means like strictness or sternness. And this kind of shows how they trained in hard conditions. They didn't even really wear shoes. They would train no matter what the weather was, if it was raining or anything. And it also made them more obedient, so they could obey the military leaders, and it just helps them in battle.
I'm Albert again to explain about the government style of Sparta. Compared to Athens, which had democratic government, Sparta was a military state, and you can basically think that the whole city was a big military force. They had two kings who ruled at the top of Sparta. This is called a diarchy, meaning a form of government in which two people are jointly vested with supreme power. Moving on to the next slide, we see a pyramid. This pyramid shows the lawmaking part of Sparta. At the bottom, there are the voters, who are consisted of only pure Spartans. They vote at the law or issues that the senates propose. These senates, also known as Council of Elders, are consisted of 30 pure Spartans, and they discuss about social issues and law. Finally, if the voters agree on such laws that the Senate propose, these laws go to the overseers. They are elected officials who are elected by the assembly, and they put the law into actual practice. As you have seen here, even though Sparta was a military state, you can see some sort of democratic factor in their lawmaking and government style.
Hi, this is Annie, and I'm going to be talking about Spartan military training. They were the most powerful army in Greece from around 600 to 371 BC, and their lives focused around following the three virtues: equality, military fitness, and austerity. Their days consisted of fighting, marching, and exercising no matter what the weather was like, and boys were expected to leave the home around age 7 and lived in army barracks until they turned 30. They also served until they were 60 years of age. They were only provided with light tunics and no shoes for clothing, and their sleeping arrangements consisted of a hard bench without any blankets. They were also only fed a small amount of black porridge as fuel and were encouraged by higher officers to steal food to show power and superiority. The Spartan military overall was such a amazing military because they were able to be so stern and have such austere personalities. That is one of the main reasons they were able to be so successful, was because of the three virtues.
Hi, this is Leah Cardenas, and I will be talking about the class system and women in Sparta. So the class system in Sparta consisted of three main groups: Spartans, Perioeci, and Helots. At the top were the Spartans. These were the original inhabitants of Sparta. They were considered full citizens or real Spartans. In the middle were the Perioeci. Perioeci means dwellers around. These people came from outside of Sparta to work as craftsmen and traders, and as they were not citizens, they could not participate in any voting. And at the bottom were the Helots. These were peasants or slaves. Both Helots and Perioeci were mostly Messenians. Now for women in Sparta, they were treated much differently than women in neighboring city-states. This is because one of the three virtues was equality. In Athens, women were to keep quiet and were seen as less than men. But in Sparta, women had much more freedom and were seen as equals. The freedom women had as adults included running the family estates while their husbands were on active military duty. As young girls, they were trained for the military. They ran, wrestled, and played many sports, much like men did. They even had a sports festival just for women in honor of Hera, Zeus's wife. The main event was a foot race for unmarried women. Women would often tell their husbands and sons to come back with your shield or on it before they'd go off to war. This meant to either come back and have won or die fighting, because when Spartan men died in war, they were carried back on their shields. This shows austerity, which is one of the three virtues. Even women showed sternness to their sons and husbands in a time of life and death.
Hi, so Albert is here and back with high-level thinking question. Our group's high-level thinking question is: explain why Sparta gave more rights to women compared to other city-states. The city-state includes Athens, and you can find the answer for this question in the social class slide, as Leah compared the women in Sparta to the women in Athens. Also, please think hard and connect your ideas with the three virtues of Lycurgus. Finally, here is our Kahoot. This is the end of our presentation about Sparta. Hope you guys enjoyed our slides and become more familiar with Sparta. Thank you.